at what you lost, and God is trying to tell you, wait, there's more. You keep looking back at what you've lost, and God is trying to show you, wait, there's more. The relationship, the job, the friendship, the family member, whatever it is, there is always more. God is a God of abundance. There's no end to his supply. There is no end to the supply of God. What he's trying to do in your life right now is elevate you with what you have left. Is elevate you with what you have left. But you keep looking back at what you've lost. Since you've grown so much that you don't even recognize the woman in the mirror. That's why you don't spend a lot of time in the mirror. You don't know you anymore, right? And I know I'm talking to someone because God woke me up with this word and I took notes, and it's like, consistency is the key. You can't keep stopping every time there's a bump in the road. You can't keep stopping every time you turn on the news. You can't keep stopping because somebody's going through something. How much of us are carrying the weight of things that don't belong to us? How many of us are carrying the weight of things that don't belong to us? They're not of God. They're not what God said about you, but you're carrying words that somebody said to you 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you're still carrying the weight of those words. Let me slow down because God gave me so much this morning. I just had to hit go live. I couldn't even think long enough. I just wrote down a little bit of notes like, okay, let me just jump on real quick. Because somebody needs to know, use what you have. This is a continuation of yesterday. This is a continuation of yesterday's live. I got so many inboxes and comments about that live because we forget life still goes on. There's still more to us. We are the head and not the tail. We are the lender and not the borrower. We are above and not beneath. What we've lost does not dictate what is left. What we've lost does not dictate what God has left for us. And I'm going to say this better in a minute, but God gave me this morning. It's like, you lost something. It's not the end of the world. Someone left. It's not the end of the world. God is removing what you didn't have the strength to remove. But God is also going to replace what you've lost, but in a different way. But you keep looking at the same thing thinking it's going to come the same way. It's not going to come the same way. When you operate in purpose, when you move in faith, write this down. Faith expands your proximity. Good morning, Court. Faith expands your proximity. I'm going to let you sit with that for a moment. Because somewhere along the line, we lose our faith in people. We lose our faith in things. We lose our faith because it didn't go the way we planned. It didn't go the way we planned. So what? There's another way. There's always a ram in the bush. There's always a ram in the bush because God is always going to say, okay, I know the matters of your heart. I know what it is you desire. It may not come the way you think it's going to come. It may not come from the people you think it should come from. But I'm going to bless you. And it made me think about when I was going to purchase my first home. I didn't have a guide for purchasing my first home. And I connected with the lady. Her name is Melissa. I will never forget her as long as I live. And I connected with Melissa, and I was so much in my ego. Somebody put ego in the chat if you're with me. I was thinking that because I left my job, I lost my identity. I felt like my purpose was tied to my job, and it's not. And it's not. When God created you, it was not connected to a job. It was connected to purpose. And your purpose is within you. When you left that job, your purpose left with you. Your identity, right? It's what we're going to be talking about next week inside of the Unmute Challenge. 3 ways to a self-trust reset. 3 days to a self-trust reset. But put ego in the chat because I want to tell you how my ego got in the way because for so long I was worried about my credit score. My credit score, that identity. You want to look a certain way because you look good on the outside, but that credit is jacked up. right? My credit was jacked up. Servant 40, I see you, sis. I see you back, Anissa. And what happened was I waited so long to go see someone, Court, that I forgot, like, God is still in control. I had to let my ego go to say, okay, even though this score is like a 520, even though this score is like a 520, God is going to work with me. All right. I'm going to walk in here in faith. I'm going to humble myself and I'm going to walk in here in faith and let's see what's going to happen. So when she pulled the credit and she told me the score, I was like, whoo. At that time, I wasn't really familiar with scores, but I knew that that was bad. I didn't know a lot about credit. I wasn't taught about credit. I wasn't taught about budgeting, all the things, right? I just felt like if somebody gave me a credit card, go use it. It's free money. It's free money, right? So when she tells me the credit score, I'm like gathering up my papers like, okay, well, thank you. She was like, wait, we can work with this. And I'm like, work with this? Work with this? Okay, so it's going to take me another 5 years to pay this stuff off. Hey, Alicia, it's going to take me another 5 years to pay this stuff off. I thought I was going to walk away with a house tomorrow, right? Because how many of us can be impatient? How many of us can be impatient? How many of us forget to have the faith the size of a mustard seed? All I needed was faith the size of a mustard seed, right? And if I had a mustard seed in my hand right now, you couldn't even see it. You couldn't even see it. But I want you to pretend you have faith the size of a mustard seed today, right? And I want you to start having the conversations and put your ego aside to go get what it is that you want. So after I calmed down and I allowed her to finish saying what she was saying, she said, I am going to work with you. I am going to make sure you have a house, but I need you to do something. I need you to stay out of the mall for 1 year. I need you to stay out of the mall for 1 year. And she took a highlighter and she started going like this. She started highlighting lines on this credit report. But I noticed there were some things that she was skipping over. I noticed there were some things that she was skipping over. She was highlighting certain things. She said, you see everything on this paper that I highlighted? I want you to pay those things. And I want you to start with the smallest ones first. Don't miss this. Start with the smallest ones first, because I'm talking to somebody. Start with the smallest one first. All the ones that I've highlighted that are doable, there's $90. Why is this even on here? $150. Why is this even on here? This is what I'm saying to myself. Stay out the mall, sis. And she said, pay the small ones first. And then I want you to tackle the big ones one at a time. Okay, then what? Now I'm like, okay, I could do that. Then what? I didn't know how I was going to get to the big ones, but I knew how I could get to those small ones. Stop eating out. Stop eating out. And this was, at this point, 20 years ago. Yeah. About 20 years ago. And she was like, just pay the small ones first. She said, and I promise you, in 8 months, you will be in your home. But I want you to stay out of the mall, even after you get in your home, because I want to teach you about budget, about credit. I want you to see how this thing works. So I had my eye on this house, and she said, that's not your house. She said, I want you to go look for a new build. New build? You want me to take my 520 credit score and go get a brand new house and get it built the way I want it? Faith, the size of a mustard seed, right? I followed the instructions of Melissa, and that happened. I'm going to speed up the story a little bit. And that happened. But what I want you to know is your faith expands your proximity. Nobody in my circle told me that. Nobody in my circle could teach me that, right? But this woman, this stranger, helped me buy my first home and build it from the ground up with a 520 credit score. I was able to get that credit score in 8 months to a 580 where I needed it to purchase the home once it was built. So I was like coming in like hot right at the closing. We pulled that credit probably 3 weeks before the closing. I had just hit a 580. So I didn't have the credit to buy the home at the time, but I had the credit to build the home. How many of you are going to take your time to build what God has called you to build? How many of you are going to slow down enough to build what God has called you to build? How many of you are going to be consistent enough with the process to get what it is that God has called you to, that he has waiting for you? You keep posting and ghosting. You keep saying, I don't have it. You keep saying, I can't do it like they do it. How many of you are going to take the time to build slow? Be consistent. Thank you, Shauna Ray. Be consistent. Be disciplined. Get out of your own way. Give your ego a break. Right? Good morning, Patricia. I see you, sis. You give up too fast. I was giving up too fast. I didn't have enough faith in me, but I had enough faith in God. So when she told me, I was able to slow down and get out of my own way. My ego was crushed a little bit, but I was able to get out of my own way, Bella Michelle. I was able to say, she knows what she's talking about. Sometimes you're sitting in front of people that know what they're talking about, but you can't let your ego take the back seat. You won't let your ego take the back seat. You won't sacrifice anything. You keep thinking, this is just the way I am. I'm going to stay in the mall. I'm going to eat out all the time. I'm going to do all the things. You don't want to practice any type of discipline. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to take your medication on time. You don't want to stop eating the candy. You don't want to. Because your ego is keeping you stuck where you are. Yes, this word is for me, powerful. Oh my God, you're speaking to me. Okay, I'm not alone today. God gave me this word this morning. It was like hot off the press. I was like writing these little notes so fast. I was like, because this menopause brain, baby, by the time I get here, I won't remember anything he said. He said, use what you have. I was like, Lord, I used that yesterday. You told me that yesterday. This is part 2. This is part 2. Welcome in, Bernard. This is part 2. I am hosting next week a 3-day challenge to help you reset your self-trust. Some of us need to build our trust back with ourselves. If you find you take long to make decisions now, if you can't remain consistent, if you can't remain disciplined, you should be, right? Part 2 says, yesterday was so juicy, we had to come back for the second part. He gave me the same word today. Use what you have. Because we think now that we're divorced, we don't have anything. Our life looks different. It's not what it used to be. Now that we're not in that job and don't have that title, we're not who we used to be. Sis, you are still her. Period. You've done that already. Now what? Ask God, now what? What do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do with what I have now? What do I do with what I have now? Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Shamika. I see you all dropping in. What do I do with what I have now? And that's where we go wrong. We mourn too long. We stay in situations too long. Life is still happening. It's not happening to us. It's happening for us. And when we shift our mindset to see, like, how strong is my faith? Write that down. How strong is my faith on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being the strongest. 1 being not so much right now. How strong is my faith? Because life is passing me by. And I keep thinking, I've missed my window of opportunity. Maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe this is all it for me. This is my last thing. No. God woke us up this morning. New grace, new mercy. It's abundance of everything. Money is being printed right now. How can you lack money? It's being printed right now. It's an abundance of it. Go get it. Set your sights on what you want. There's a house being built right now with your name on it. Go get it. There's an apartment for you right now with your name on it. Go get it. Stop being afraid to apply, because you never know who you're going to sit at that table with. You never know who you're going to meet. Have those hard conversations. Face your credit score. Face what it is that you need to face, and stop running from your truth. Stop running from your truth. Stop running from your mistakes. Life is still happening all around us. It's time for you to jump in and become a part of it and get what it is that you want. Stop running and helping everybody else do what it is that they need to do for fear of facing the thing that you know you need to do. You need to do something that's going to change your life, and you keep putting it on hold because you don't want to make the phone call. You don't want to have the conversation. You don't want to face your credit. You don't want to look back at what has happened. You don't want to deal with it. In order to heal, you have to feel. In order to heal, you have to feel. Baby, you're not going to break. God is not going to put anything on us that we cannot handle. You are not going to break. Hit that live button. Open your mouth. Have a conversation. Write you down 3 good points, sis. You don't have to go live long. Get it out. Get whatever you need to say, whatever God is calling you to say and share, go share that. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the good lighting, the perfect lighting. My lighting is off today. You hear me? You hear my voice? You getting this message? You getting these words that God gave me? I'm just a messenger. I'm just willing to share my story of having a 520 credit score. I don't let that shame or the fear of forgetting or anything like that. I just wrote the notes. I could have said, oh, Lord, the way this menopause brain set up, I'm not going to remember that when I get out the shower. He's not going to ask me about what I remembered. He's going to ask me, did you use what I gave you? Did you use your story to help someone else? Did you use your downfalls to help someone else get up? Did you use your voice? How many of you on here are afraid of using your voice? Drop a 5 in the chat. If you are afraid of using your voice, drop a 5 in the chat. Because it's time to use your voice. You've been playing with it too long. You've been sitting with this thing too long. Right? I see the 5s in the chat. You've been playing with it too long. You know that God has created you for more. You know that God has created you to be in different rooms, but you want to stay in this same circle that you can't get out of long enough to go get what it is that you need. I don't like it either, Alicia, believe it or not. I cringe at it. Elaine knows, I don't like public speaking. Elaine has been to my conference. I paid people to come speak at my conference. I spoke at the one I think that Elaine came to in Baltimore for a little while. That was my first time speaking at my conference, and that was probably my 5th or 6th conference. And I see all of the 5s. And I hope to see you in my challenge. Drop unmute if you want to get help with this. Because eventually, there has to be a time that you face yourself. I'm not going to say face your fears, because we're always going to have fear. I have fear before I hit go live. But once I open my mouth and once I share from an authentic place, it comes right down. It comes right down because I'm sharing my truth. There's no one that can share your truth the way you can. No one. No one. Only you know your story. Only you know your story. And we get so caught up in the shame. We get so caught up in the not wanting people to know. We get so caught up into what it looks like on the outside that people don't know the half of what we've been through. And sharing that is what scares us. But it also holds us in bondage because you haven't looked around in a long time and saw how far you are removed from that version of you. I am so far removed from the 30-year-old that sat at that table with that 520 credit score, right? That story no longer shames me. I use it to elevate someone else. That same story is empowering someone right now as I use my voice. That's what I want you to do. That same story that used to keep you in bondage, I want you to share it with someone. I want you to share it with someone. Allow them to know that now they can go sit at that table with the 520 credit score and not be ashamed and not walk in there with ego and pray that God puts a Melissa in front of them that is going to help them build their new home. God said, I put you through that so that you can help someone else. I let you see that there are people in this world that will help you. This world is not bad. There are people in this world that are not nice, that can be cruel. But God will put you in front of people that will help you. That will help you and that will advocate for you. But you got to use what he gave you because your faith, right? I told you to write this down earlier. Your faith expands your proximity. You're not cheating on your friends by getting in a different community or a different circle of people doing something a little bit more than what you're used to. Because if I didn't put myself in a circle of people who owned homes, I would never own a home. I would never own a home. I was coming straight from New York where my fashion, what I had on, was more important than where I laid my head at that time. That was my mentality. I always looked the part. But my desire was to be a homeowner. Now that I was in a different place with people who own homes, I'm like, wait a minute. If sis got that, I know I could. You need to start looking around. If somebody else did it, you can do it too. Just because it doesn't look like where you come from doesn't mean you can't have it. Somebody just shouted. Just because it doesn't look like where you come from, it doesn't mean you can't have it. At 30 years old, my friends didn't own a home. The people in my circle didn't own a home. But when I got on this job and I got to North Carolina, it's like, wait a minute, you got a house, you got a house, you got a house, you got a house. Am I the only one without a house? Oh, wait a minute, hold up. What's going on here? They giving away houses in North Carolina? Because my mindset wasn't on a house. My mom didn't own a house. I had always been in an apartment. Right? So I didn't know any different. And it's okay. But your faith, your purpose, your positioning, write down positioning, expands your proximity. When you get around people talking a different talk, speaking a different language, your mind expands. Your mind expands. But you can't keep saying, that's just how I am. That's all I know. This is the only hood I know. Okay. That was the only job I knew. Right. That's why it's tapping into your identity. Now what? Who do you want to become now? Who do you want to become now? Because the same way you did that, you can do this. The same way you had that, now you can have this. It didn't stop with a job. It didn't stop with a car. It didn't stop with that house. It didn't stop with that apartment. It didn't stop with that relationship. It didn't stop with that friendship. It didn't stop when they walked away from you. There's always more. Exposure, position, and it expands your proximity. Thank you, sis. Right? God will send you your people. God will send you your people. You just have to have faith the size of a mustard seed. Put your ego aside. Even when your circumstances are not favorable and you don't think it's going to go your way, do it anyway. Try it anyway. Say it anyway. Show up anyway. Stop discounting yourself. Stop settling for the easy, low-hanging fruit. Go fix your credit. Go get back in school. Go get the job. Go get the career. Go build the business. Go create the content. Go hit the go live button. Whatever it is that you know that you want to do, go do it. What is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? They tell you no. Go ask somebody else. What is the worst that can happen? Your live doesn't go as well as you planned. Probably only 3 people saw it anyway. Delete it. Do it again. What's the worst that can happen? We are too grown to allow what we think to stop us. Because 9 times out of 10, we probably didn't even try it. We already counted ourselves out. Right? Am I right or am I right? 9 times out of 10, we didn't even try it, but we've already counted ourselves out. Why? Why? Why are you counting yourself out when God always counts you in? He woke you up this morning, clothed and in your right mind. You have everything you need. Use what you have. Use what you have. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for somebody else to validate what God has already called valid. Stop waiting for somebody else to qualify you. God called you and he qualified you before you even took your first step. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, he knew you. He knew me. He knew I was going to have the 520 credit score. He knew I was going to sit down with Melissa. He knew you would be on this live today. He knew you would be in the Unmute Challenge. He knew. He already created all of this. He created all of this. Why do you always feel like your circumstances are so different? Why do you always feel like, woe is me, this is happening to me? It's so different. Nobody understands. Get in the room with people who understand. Stop talking to the same 2 people who don't lift you up, but come to you and suck you dry. You're always that one that everybody relies on. When are you going to go somewhere where you can lean on someone else? The Becoming Limitless community is open. It's a free community, but it will cost you your time. It will cost you to take care of you, to do things for you, because y'all know I'm going to hold that mirror up for you, right? Self-destruction and sabotage are real when we allow them to be. I'm glad you didn't put a period there. Self-destruction and sabotage are real when we allow them to be. No more. No more. That's why I'm here on this live letting you know, no more. We're not doing this anymore. We're not holding ourselves back anymore. We're going to use our voice. We're going to go after everything we want. Even if it's a no, it's not always going to be no. We're going to meet somebody that says, stay out the mall. We're going to meet somebody that says, pay off the small bills. We're going to meet somebody that says, let me show you how to get this done. I've done it too. I've had other people do it. You're thinking too small. You want this house that was built years ago. Let me show you how to get a brand new house. You're going to meet somebody who's going to walk you through the process. You're going to connect with a coach like me who's going to take you on this journey. You're going to get out of your own way and you're going to let your ego take a break and you're going to inbox me and we're going to have a conversation. You're not just going to look from behind the scenes anymore. You're not just going to watch the replays. You're not just going to scroll past the message. We're going to have a conversation this year. And I love that for us. I love that for us. This is the year. We're coming up on the end of the first quarter. We're not going to end this quarter without having the conversations we need to have. And on that note, I'll leave you with that. Let's have the conversations we need to have to get us where we need to be. Have the most amazing day. I love y'all. Thanks for rocking with me.